My name is Dushan Zaric, and welcome to the 4 a.m. Chicken Soup Podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome to 4 a.m. Chicken Soup Podcast. Tonight, I have an immense pleasure to welcome two of really great guests, somebody who I really wanted to have on this podcast since the beginning. And as you can see, I'm wearing the official jersey of San Diego Football Club because we are about to start the season very, very shortly. And because of that, I have the pleasure to welcome two people who are intimately involved with San Diego Football Club and the whole journey to make it what it's going to be. And it's going to be amazing, promise you. I totally do. So please welcome with me. He is the CEO of San Diego Football Club, my friend Tom Penn. Welcome.
Good evening. Thank you.
Good evening.
You've never looked better.
Oh, well, thank you so much. You're a man of taste.
No.
And he is Tyler Heaps, the sporting director and a man responsible for the roster and for the squad and to pick out the right team members for the team. Now, people who know me know that I have a few passions in life. Football or soccer is one of them. And I couldn't have a better job than being the official bartender and club ambassador for San Diego FC. So guys, welcome to the barrage. Welcome to the 4 a.m. Chicken Soup. And tell me, how is life going? It's kind of time is ticking, clock is ticking. It's happening.
Super intense right now. Everything's in that zone of being both important and urgent. You know, you're supposed to focus on stuff that's important but not urgent. So you stay on a track.
Right.
But you hit these phases where like every moment is truly important, but pressed with real urgency. So it's like decide. And the drum beat towards opening day. It's fun.
I can imagine. I've been around, and I've seen this whole thing kind of coming together in the last year. It's been quite something. How about you, Tyler? You must be super busy.
Yes, this is the final countdown, right?
Right.
You're halfway through preseason, so you have the taste of what the team's going to look like and what it's going to be. But then we also now are starting to look ahead to the first game. We've had the opportunity to play a couple of games already, so we think we know where the team's at. But now is really the first tests are coming up, and This is why you spend so much time on all the decision-making process, because now you really find out where you're at and then how you want to adjust. And that's, I think, what we're really looking forward to is that competition phase that we're very, very close to.
Yeah. How confident are you? Is that a difficult question?
Confidence is tough because you can be confident in one thing in football, as you're well aware, and that doesn't mean that you're going to be successful. So, like, when I think of confidence, what does that mean? Am I confident that we're going to win every game? Am I confident that we're going to be competitive? Am I confident in the team? So it's a difficult question to ask because I think you can take it in a number of different directions.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm very satisfied. I'm satisfied with the staff that we've hired. I think the staff are very, very high level. I've been in organizations before, high performing environments, and I think our staff is very good, which is also a huge question mark coming into this, not only the roster, but You're hiring 30 strangers to come and provide the elite care and levels for the players. And I think we've done that so far. I can see that in the training sessions and what we do before and after. And the players, I think we're further along than I thought we'd be. I thought we'd still be chasing big targets at this moment, but it feels a lot calmer because we have everybody in the building. And I think having the building has been a huge plus, but also having most of our squad with many weeks still to go until the first game is also a huge positive.
Yeah. Just the idea of getting a squad together that never played together and get them to start working with Mikey and like getting kind of into that and the new training center. By the way, congratulations for the opening of the performance center. It's amazing. I couldn't make it sadly because my car broke, but I will make my way out there and say hi to the team. However, it must have been like so difficult to really like scout out these players which never played together, and now put them in a team in such a short time.
Yeah.
It must be a huge challenge.
Yeah, it's never easy when you bring 3 new guys
Right.
into a team. Like that's normally what you're bringing in a transfer window. It's 2 to 3 guys, and that can sometimes be challenging. And then there's always the phrase of, "Oh, they need time to settle." We don't have the luxury of having time to settle.
Of course.
But I can say, like, even after when we played the game this past weekend, and we had 12 training sessions, and I can say we look like a team. One of the most probably rewarding things, I was on my social media scrolling through Instagram, and one of our players was talking to our social media team, and he said, "Oh, we're a family." Like, that's a bold statement.
I read that actually.
It's a bold statement after 14 days together.
Too, yeah.
So something like that to me is credit to the staff for building that culture. And if we can continue to build on that, I mean, the sky's the limit, I think, for the group. But yeah, now is when the pressure comes, and that obviously can change people, but it's also a huge opportunity for us.
There is an advantage to expansion.
Right.
There's no baggage coming in. There's no patterns. There's no drama around contracts. You know, everybody's fresh and in a honeymoon phase contractually.
Right.
And that changes year to year, where players perform well and one out, players struggle, and you want to get rid of them or make a move. And in this case, we wanted each of these players in. They all wanted to be here.
Right.
And there's fresh energy and optimism and momentum. So if you can get the synergy going and the teamwork, then you've got a chance to be good.
Which I can attest to, because I've been a part of this organization for like a year already, and I witnessed the whole kind of that energy, that kind of intention that was present when the team was just very small in the office, and there was, you know, it was that same energy of like, yeah, let's go and do it. And, you know, I felt attracted to it right away. And to be a part of something from the get-go was for me like an amazing thing. So
you're one of our longest tenured employees, huh?
Yeah, well, you know, I'm actually the person when I walk into the office, everybody's, you know, like
everybody knows your name.
Is it like happy hour in? I'm like,
I'm not sure. Some of us don't even know all the players' names yet. So that's a huge testament to how long you've been around. So,
Tom, I wanted to say something to you and ask you something. I've known you like for a year now. And I watched you lead this organization, and something that caught my eye, because in my own businesses, I am in that position of being in charge and making decisions. One thing that I noticed about you is that you never falter. You're always like on it, as hard as it gets, as many challenges as they are. And I know they are challenges, and I know there is difficult situations and difficult decisions to make. But just that the fact that you kind of always led by example and kept it together so that the rest of the organization can actually follow you properly and trust you is something that really, really meant a lot to me. And I wanted to ask you about that. It must have been, I know it's not easy. So how do you do that?
Well, thank you first. I don't know that I do that, but if you say I do.
Well, I see it. I'm not maybe an authority, but that's how it appears.
Yeah, look, these are really challenging. Doing an expansion like this, it's a startup.
Yeah.
And it's effectively like $1 billion startup.
Right.
The Forbes and Sportico just came out with valuations, and the top 5 teams in MLS now are over $1 billion in value. And this will be instantly a peer of those teams based on the market that we're in and the amount of revenue we'll be able to generate from the stadium. And they don't get too much into the performance of the team, but, you know, if you're a good team, it helps as well.
Sure.
So it's a big high stakes challenge, with a ton of pressure and like really high expectation and high standards. That starts with ownership.
Sure.
And we have awesome ownership, right? You got Sir Mohammed Mansour.
Yeah. Can you say a few words about Mr. Mansour?
He's an elegant, dignified global businessman.
Right.
He built a family empire that employs 60,000 people across multiple industries, across multiple countries. And he's just a distinguished gentleman. You know, he was knighted by King Charles. He's just a special human being, right? I mean, he's a dude.
I texted my wife because at the dinner, so you have this guy coming, right? And he is like one of the most unique individuals. And then you read his book and you're like, holy cow, what a life he's had and what he's been able to do. So I go in to like formally shake his hand. And he like goes to like dap me up. So I have Sir Mohammed Mansour that I'm like just been knighted. I'm like shaking up with him, and he pulls me in for a hug, and I'm but that is the type of person he is. Once he sees how committed you are to one of his investments, I think he's all in with you. And I think that's why this ownership group is so special. Is that they are totally in the ride with us, and they want to be.
Yeah.
That was my Sir Mohammed Mansour moment where I'm like, I texted Lindsay, I said, I just dapped up Mr. Mansour.
Yeah, well, it's a huge privilege to have him involved, right? Because of the Right to Dream, and you've been involved with Right to Dream, right? And it's like, I think that concept's amazing. I think building your own, from what I know about football, and
you know a lot.
I know a lot, but I know that these days, the business model is if you do not produce your own players through the academy system, it becomes more difficult to really get a business model together that actually works. Because at the end of the day, this is a business as well.
No.
And
it's impossible in this league.
Yeah.
In MLS, it literally is impossible to be sustainable from a business and a sporting standpoint if you don't have your own academy players. Because you're just bleeding money. Because this league punishes you if you're successful based on the bonus structure and the salary cap.
Sure.
And if you're always spending more money and buying more players, you're always going to be out of budget for going into the next year.
Right.
So look at the LA Galaxy. They've had to punt on a lot of key players because they had no academy players.
Yeah. But
if you have the academy players, they're cap friendly. They're committed to the project because they're born and raised and from there. But this league is extremely difficult, and it'll only become more difficult because of the rule. But in world football, it's also extremely difficult.
It is. So what are your thoughts about the European model of promotion and relegation? I never hear people talk about this in the MLS. Why not? This episode is brought to you by... Hold on. No one. Absolutely no one. If you're a liquor company, an importer, any kind of marketing agency, or anyone else, we are not going to dance around here much. We're going to shamelessly ask you to sponsor this episode or this show. This definitely could be you in our next episode. So don't be shy. Reach out. Stay legendary. Why is that so difficult? I understand it's a closed franchise system. That's a given. I understand that. But why is it difficult to punish people who suck and, reward people who do well?
Because you punish everybody on the valuations. It's been reported that we paid $500 million to just get a ticket in MLS.
Yeah, that's what I read, yeah.
We don't even have a team. Yet that opportunity to buy into MLS is worth more than almost all the Premier League teams.
Correct.
Why? Because in any given bad year, they get bounced out and they go down.
Right.
And then they got to spend so much to fight to get back in. In this case, with a closed American system, you've got value retention.
Right.
Because you're in that elite group, not going anywhere.
Yeah, so you can be like the New York Giants and suck for years, which breaks my heart, and that's okay. That's okay because you have bad management. You can suck and nobody is hurting. But the Europeans have this thing where kind of makes it a little bit more interesting. There's higher stakes.
But they also don't have a playoff system.
Right. Well, yeah, some leagues do, but not the big ones. Yeah.
All the big leagues, all the domestic leagues, they effectively, it's the regular season that counts, and they don't go into a tournament at the end of the year. So, the American way is to have everybody in a closed first division system.
Right.
And have meaningful playoffs where quite a few of the teams participate, and you crown your champion from that.
Right.
that's maybe the stranger nuance in America is that we crown our champion based on this single elimination tournament where freaky things happen.
Right.
And the supporters shield itself, while it gets awarded, it's not really celebrated like as much as I think it should be.
I just think it's Europe is they tried to do it.
Oh, yeah.
They tried to do the Super League.
Yeah.
They tried to essentially say, we're putting everybody in this, and people fought against it, which I understand. But I think also in Europe, there's now a unhealthy amount of turnover.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you see less of that in the U.S. But promotion and relegation, I think, also has caused a lot of clubs to be run very, very poorly because they're panicking. And when you panic, you just start making decisions. So I think that for the longevity of the sport, the longevity of actually trying to build a process and build a style of play and everything that comes with it, MLS is probably better suited for the long run for that. But I see both sides of it. I mean, I never wanted to come back to MLS because I was the same way. It's intensified pressure, but it also is intensified pressure then that makes stupid decisions from an ownership or from other decisions.
Of course.
So,
I mean, that whole point of Leicester, like getting promoted, Leicester City, right? And like 5-6 years ago, and then winning the Premier League is kind of a Cinderella story. It's a fairy tale, right? And people get emotional about that because, I have my season tickets that were passed down from my dad, and those were passed down from the grandfather. And like, it's kind of, you don't pick up the franchise and move to another city just because it makes more financial sense. Because obviously it's a part of the neighborhood, city, town, the whole thing. And I think culturally also, I think that was from what I understand as European, that was kind of the backlash against the Super Leagues. Like, don't do this because this is like earn your place, right? And I don't know how long they're going to be able to sell this idea to the supporters there that, I think money always gets its way. I was really, I remember when Man City was playing, not to get relegated every season, right? They were like Everton, like, they were like, but now, with all that influx of capital, and good lawyers, right?
It always comes back to, with every great Leicester story, it's also not good for the sport that Bayern Munich wins 15 times in a row. And so, like, that's where the balance is. MLS is great because anybody can win in any given year.
Yeah.
Because there's a competitive balance. And I think that's what makes also this so exciting, and what probably the U.S. fan wants is that they want to feel like their team always has a chance.
Yeah.
With no disrespect, Ipswich doesn't have a chance in the Premier League.
No.
They have no chance. No. They're probably going to get yo-yoed back down. And then, so there's also a lot of positives, I think, that come with
Southampton too, right?
Yeah, exactly. There's yo-yo clubs. And at least here, everybody starts the year with probably the same hope of, we got a chance. And if we make a couple roster moves, we really got a chance.
Yeah, totally. No, I can see, like, because I was, I was following LA Galaxy because I had a compared to it play there. And last season, not last, but the season before last, they didn't make the playoffs. And then next season, they take the cup. And you started LAFC, right? That was a story, right? Like, from the get-go, like, you guys won the cup. That was quite a story. How did it feel? Tell me about it.
LAFC?
Yeah.
It was great. That was my first foray into football.
Yeah.
I was in basketball forever before that.
Yeah.
And that was, a soup to nuts startup in the city of Los Angeles where we built a stadium.
Right.
The first outdoor stadium in the city of LA since Dodger Stadium in 1962.
Right.
So that in and of itself was like awesome. And then we put together what was a record-setting squad to begin with. They scored 57 points. That's since been broken.
Right.
But kind of came out of the blocks flying with a style that was reflective of the community.
Right.
Like, our sporting director there was a guy named John Thorrington, and he sort of used Pittsburgh as a good example of how the best sustainable clubs sort of mirror the image of the people. So, like, in Pittsburgh, the steel curtain and this toughness and this sort of identity that goes with it. And
sure.
And, you can say this, and all those clubs have the same colors, right? For that city. It just is identifiable. So we wanted somebody on the front foot. We wanted a little splash, a little sizzle, and sort of had that style of play with a very, sophisticated, traditional, experienced coach, Bob Bradley.
Yeah.
So it worked.
The community took to it. I mean, it was like that.
Yeah, it was a different style, a different brand. We were of the city, black and gold.
Yeah.
So, that was an exciting, cool, fun project. But it was complicated. LA is just, we were the 10th professional team into the market, plus USC and UCLA,
sure,
who are like professional teams.
Yeah.
So you've got that much sporting alternatives, two of everything.
Yeah.
And we were the third MLS team into the market because we were announced the day after they sunsetted Chivas USA.
Yeah.
So it was a little bit of like, who gives a shit? Why are they here? Why do we need another one of those? So that was a different challenge. In this case, there's only the Padres in men's sports, as far as first division, major league.
In San Diego, we're talking about.
In San Diego now. So we get the chance to come in here and be macro relevant to this entire community. Yeah. Come up with a different brand that's authentic for this market and come up with we've talked about it a lot, a club that's reflective of the community. I mean, we took that to the next level with Chrome.
Sure.
Being a reflective color. Yeah. And, we've really lived that from the beginning, that we want to be a team that this community would identify with.
Yeah.
And what you find out here in San Diego, this place is sneaky smart, sneaky innovative, sneaky impactful.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
There's a quiet confidence here where everybody's getting stuff done and then loving life.
Yeah.
From the outside, I thought, well, most people think, everything's chill down there, the beach. But when you get in here, it is that.
It's that too. Yeah.
And it's this spirit of innovation, this like cutting edge stuff. And then everything's understated, cool.
Yeah.
Proud, not loud,
Yeah, I like that too about this. Like, it took me a little bit when I moved here to kind of get it, because I came from big places where, the energy was different. But yeah, you're right. It is exactly like that. And that's what's attractive for me as well about this place. So you guys excited about the World Cup? You've been to World Cups, right? You've been with the national team.
Yeah. I won a World Cup on the women's side. I got a World Cup medal.
Yeah.
On my mantle. It's about the only medal I got at the moment.
Yeah.
Hopefully a few more of those.
And your wife too, right?
Yeah. She's got pretty much everything on the mantle at the moment. Yeah. So my stuff doesn't need to be. She's got enough to fill that thing. It's the global stage. It's the global game, world game. I mean, I'm excited it's here. I'm looking forward to it, to hopefully going. I'm looking forward to hopefully having an impact in it. That's now we're in this role, right, where we can actually have an impact in it. So hopefully we've got some players playing in it.
Yeah.
I think that would be massive for the club. I think it'll be another boom moment for soccer, football in this country. And I think the U.S. could, again, they always can surprise the people, right? They won't have any expectations going into it based off of just where they have been the last couple of years. Now you've got Pochettino, so you've got a big name running the helm. They've had some players now get back into form. But there's enough in those tournaments. We said this all the time in major tournaments before we go into it. This was Copa, this was Gold Cup. It's why these things are so exciting. Anybody can beat anybody in any given day.
Right.
So you look back to Qatar. Saudi Arabia beats Argentina.
Yes.
And then Argentina runs the table and wins every other game.
That's right.
That's why everybody loves this sport, is that you can win a game 7-0 and you can get bounced in the next round.
That's right.
The U.S. can play very well against Netherlands and they can lose.
Yeah. Which was such a heartbreak. Oh,
for sure. Yeah. And you go back to whenever the U.S. played Belgium and whatever that was, 2014.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you would never, look at that thing on paper, you're saying the U.S. is losing this game 7-0. And on any other given day, their game's probably 7-0. But Tim Howard finds a way to keep him in the game. And that's why you watch that. And you get so much passion for your country and so much, I've had the experience to watch now Lindsay play in World Cups and Olympics. And you just get goosebumps because it's your country and it just means that much more.
Totally.
And then when you know some of the players, it like even gives you that much more. You're like,
I mean, I've been watching these guys every weekend play in the top 5 leagues in in Europe, right? And they are great, all of them, like Pulisic and Villa and Kenny, and all of them, like they are at the top, I think, from my point of view and my experience in football. I think they're their best game right now. And putting them together, composing that team, I think for next year, I think we really have a chance. I would put my money on the United States team, definitely. I wasn't so sure last time, but this time I think they are, because they play with everybody else. They know all these other guys that they play against in the other teams. They play with them every week, right? So if they play against Lukaku, they know that he's a big guy right there. This is how we're going to defend against him. So I think, and there's lots of talent here. Oh my God, what a big country with a lot of talent. And I think this is I think time. Yeah. So, what are you guys' expectations like? Like we're playing LA Galaxy first, and then we're having the first home game on March 1st. What would you guys like to walk away with? And I don't want to talk about results. I want to talk about, like the team, the fans, that you guys personally, like, what do you guys want to see? Obviously, we want to see it us win. I will.
Our message internally is win the first game.
Yeah.
That could be Galaxy. That could be St. Louis. That could be, but the message internally is win the first game. Win the first game in club history. It'll come at one moment or the other. But it's too difficult right now to say we want to win the league, we want to win this, we want to win that. But so our message internally is win the first game in club history. Mikey puts it well. We don't have goals, we have milestones, and those milestones can be checked every game. So one of our milestones is a sub comes in the game and impacts it. So that's a plus. It's a positive. We need building blocks to build on, because this sport is too cruel and we're a brand new club.
Yeah.
And if we look at, okay, we need to win 9 points in the first 4 games, I don't think you set yourself up to have what you probably need in the long run.
Mm-hmm.
So my expectations more so probably revolve around the performance and what we look like on the field, because soccer is also can be very random. And you can dominate games and you can still lose. So I think our expectations are that we come out and we take the game, we control the tempo.
Right.
That probably means that we're going to hopefully score some goals, and that's the expectation. But we'll also probably concede some goals because we will take a lot of risk. We'll build out of the back with people in a roster that maybe isn't perfect on day one, but we understand that. We'll push a lot of people into the box to score goals, because that is everything that we do is centered around that. That means we'll probably concede some goals in the counter. Right. So for me, the expectations are more around the performance. We need to actually go and do what we have kept saying we're going to do.
Yeah.
And that's, we need to give opportunities to players that are young or inexperienced, which we keep saying that we're going to do. And we also need to go and play a style that's proactive and brave. And, like you won't see us kick any goal kicks long. That's my expectation. Like that is my, because we don't believe that that's the way football should be played.
Start from the back line.
Yeah. We've recruited players that don't want to play that way. So if you do that, we've set ourselves up to fail right there. Yeah. So from our standpoint, it's about how we do it, as opposed to we need to win first 3 games. So win the first 3 games, it's amazing, right?
Great.
Because everybody's happy.
Yeah.
And we're probably making a mark here in San Diego. And don't get me wrong, if we do those things right, I think we'll win a lot of football games this year.
There's so much good energy about this whole project and about the team. I mean, and I think it's an amazing. Oh, your glass is empty. What would you like me to make you next? You had like a basil smash kind of variation. Right?
I'll do another one of those, actually.
Yeah? All right.
What are your expectations, huh?
You like the basil smash?
It's Lindsay's go-to because it's healthy. So I've kind of like fallen into it.
Wow.
It's not bad. You can do it without basil, actually. Just do it without, because what is it? It's lime juice? Gin?
Oh, yeah. We'll make it like,
Are you really telling him how to make a drink?
I was a bartender. You know this.
He was a bartender.
I paid my college tuition.
He's a colleague.
Really?
I got my bartending license when I was 18 years old. In Minnesota, you can get your bartender license. One of my best friends in grade school growing up's dad owned the Minnesota School of Bartending. So I was a bar back at the local restaurant since I was 13. I used to get paid under the table because I wasn't old enough to work. But my mom said, you need to go get a job. So I went to the local bar and grill and got a job as a barback. So I learned all about alcohol. I was in the back, like at 13, like picking out the bottle. They give me a huge list on a receipt, all because I had to stock the bar. And then the day I turned 18, I went and got my bartending license. And I used to do private events because all the weddings would reach out to Minnesota School of Bartending and say, hey, can you provide a bartender? So I got paid $12 an hour in tips. And I did it all the way through college.
No kidding.
I paid off my college tuition from being a bartender.
I did not know that.
So that's why I can give.
I take
From
it back.
colleague to colleague.
Yeah, totally.
I can give advice.
That's what the first thing that you told me when we met.
Yeah.
One of the private events we used to do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I said,
I was a bartender too. I'm like, oh my God.
From 13 to 18.
13 to 18 bar back, 18 to 23. Because I even kept doing it when I was still working in finance because I just made made so much money.
Yeah. All right.
So yeah, that's my.
So I'm going to give you a proper coaster.
Oh, look at
Look at that.
Everything on brand.
Yeah, man.
The new app is nice.
Yeah.
Download the app.
Yeah, I read about it today that it's out.
You need to download this.
Yeah, so everybody please download the SDFC app. It's out today. So you can keep with us with up to speed with everything that we're doing. All right, here we go. Look at that.
It's my go-to. I'm not drinking beer.
All right.
That's impressive.
Because of Lindsay.
Yeah.
Here we go,
Influences
sir.
everything.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
This is good, by the way. That añejo.
Oh, yeah, it's a fantastic tequila, yeah. Siete Leguas, one of the really OG kind of proper tequilas done properly. We love that. You know, how did you come with the idea of getting like an official bartender? Like, imagine that, like a sports team, professional sports team that has an official bartender. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love it. I think it's amazing. I always say, like, this is how cool these people are. Imagine they like thought about that. But like, how did that happen? Why?
We want to be innovative in everything we do.
Yeah.
We're going into a stadium that already has a food and beverage program. Really good premium spaces, but we want to change the narrative and do something elevated because that warrants these high ticket prices. We want a great experience.
Right.
So the early energy went into how can we change up the food experience? And so you think of guest chefs, you think of, different sources outside of stadium providers, that you could bring in. And it was an easy step for me to say, how can we do something with drinks, with cocktails, with mocktails?
Right.
So we never dreamt of getting an official club bartender because we didn't think there'd be anybody worthy of that. So it wasn't a week into the process where I just started putting out into the universe and whoever I was talking to this desire to be innovative and find somebody to curate cocktails. And I originally thought it would be like a network of various folks that were known for certain kinds of drinks. And then we met Noelle and I told her this and she just grinned and said, I think I got the guy for you. And she told us your story. And I think we came here the next night to the barrage.
Yeah.
And you had me at hello here. I mean, holy shit. This is something special.
Where are you going to be during games?
Well, that's still to be determined. Like, I have to make sure, as much as I would like to watch the game, believe me, and I have my Apple TV subscription and I can go back and watch every game as many times as I want to. But I have to make sure that, hospitality is running and that the bars are delivering and that all our guests, not just the founders and the VIPs and everybody else, but everybody who comes in and wants to get something custom from us is getting it and having that experience. That's my job. I'm really good at what I do and making drinks and all that, but I'm primarily a host and I get to host 30,000 people. And, that's kind of, for me, that's an amazing thing. And but I really take this it's a challenge, but not something that we cannot do. And we'll do it, and we'll do it right, and everybody's going to love us. And I hope that other teams then understand the possibility of having an elevated hospitality experience, because, like I travel, you guys travel, you go into the airports, right? You look at this, if you sit at those bars, you're waiting for the plane. Well, these bars are so sterile and so all look the same with all the same brands, and, these tired people who kind of, serve you, and there's no real kind of exchange of energy happening sometimes, but, generally not. And at arenas too, like, I go to concerts, I go to, sports events, and it's like, you're charging me like $18 for a beer, but come on, like, give me something. And I want to change that. I think we deserve that. The community here deserves that. I want to do the extra step for the supporters as well. I want them to feel like we're thinking about them. I don't want to push anything on them, but I want them, once they ask, I want them to feel like, oh yeah, it's there. Kind of that's because I was one of those ultras when I was growing up, back.
Real ultras there.
They are.
Those are actual ultras.
Yeah, I was talking to Tyler before offline, and talking about Red Star Belgrade, and when he was at Monaco, they were playing in Belgrade as well. And he was telling me about the tunnel. It's a very famous tunnel where you don't walk from your dressing room right through a little kind of area and then out on the pitch. You gotta walk from the building where the dressing room was, and then go underneath the stadium. There's a tunnel, and it's all graffitied out. It looks really cool, but the ultras are right above you, and they know when you're coming. They're all
shaking. It's crazy. Real.
Yeah.
You're like, we're going to die.
Yeah. It's meant to intimidate you, right?
And it does it, for sure. It's like pitch black in there.
Yeah.
And then you get in there, and it's just shaking.
Yeah.
Wow. It's crazy.
Yeah. And then you come out, it's like, it's like,
how big? How many in the stadium?
They now had to kind of cut the capacity because of UEFA rules, but they're like 60,000.
Yeah,
it's like a pretty big thing, Now they want to rebuild, anyways. So yeah, everything is going well. Everything is going great. I'm super excited about this, and I hope that I can stay with the team and make this journey so much more exciting for you guys as well from my end. You definitely have made my journey exciting. This has been something I've never dreamt of. It's going to happen to me. So as you know, here it's 4 a.m. and at 4 a.m. we like to serve soup to people because we like you guys to walk home with some rejuvenating chicken soup that is our own recipe. It's the employees only kind of tradition that we do. So if you guys up for it, we're going to have a cup of soup and end this beautiful conversation.
Let's go.
Here's some chicken soup for you, gentlemen. You braved it to 4 a.m.
We did it.
Smells good.
Thank you. Yeah. So this is what we give to people when they are done at hanging out at the bar. And, last call, they get soup.
It's a common thing.
Yeah, that's what we do at my place, employees only in New York.
Really?
Yeah.
That's what they do. They invented it.
But you're saying 4 a.m. is like end of the night, not beginning of the day, right?
Yeah, it's end of the night. So imagine you've been drinking all night long and you're sitting there at 3:30, 4 a.m. You have to go home. And we give you a cup of soup.
If you stay at the end.
I never did that late.
Closing time, they give you
leave at 10 p.m. That's why I never.
Nobody else does this, though, right?
Nobody else does this. No,
So where did it start? In
New York City.
Okay.
20 years ago.
At their place, employees only.
Yeah.
That picture.
Learn something every day.
Yeah. So, we felt that that's
You didn't do that in your bartending days.
I was trying to get everybody out of there so I go home.
Yeah.
That's like closing time 2 hours early just to get people out of there.
Right. So I am sure you won't let the players really hang out with me much, but you and your staff can.
Well, hopefully those staff don't hang out with you very much either. But after wins, hopefully everybody's...
Yeah.
It's always celebrations and moderations. You have to celebrate those moments because,
of course,
that's how you continue to keep the camaraderie and good spirits and everything else. So.
Yeah. Yeah, man, I'm super excited about this. I think it's going to be a great thing for the city, a great thing for the community. And, Tom, like, again, man, you've been such an inspiration with the way you led this whole thing. And I know that you had, other experiences before with basketball and with LAFC, but this is I watched it firsthand, and I consider you a friend, and I thank you for having me in this endeavor, man.
Yeah, my man. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, please.
Global Bartender of the Year. I mean, the world champion.
Well, that's when I was in my prime, right? When I was young and I could deliver like all the other. But, I think for at somebody my age right now to be doing something like this and kind of breaking some barriers and going into something completely new, which people don't really do, in this industry, when you get to my age, you get a brand job, something cushy, it's a daytime thing. But I cannot do that. I have to stay in service. It's what drives me, you know. So, guys, thanks so much. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
coming.
Thank you.
Our pleasure.
Good luck with everything, and stay legendary.
Let's
And
go.
I'll be there with you along the way.
Let's go.
Thanks a lot.
Let's go.
All
Let's
right.
go.
Bye. So Tyler Heaps, ordered a gin smash. I made him a variation, but for you who are interested, here is how it goes. So the recipe calls for around 10 fresh basil leaves, which I have here handy. And then using my muddler tool, now please beware, this is not your barback remote control. Tool that does what? Extracts basically the essential oils and the fragrance from the leaves and herbs. So please don't turn this into a pesto. Like gently tapping it like this will just do the job. All right, so we start with gin. I'm using Fort's gin because I like it. All right, 2 ounces of Fort's gin. Now this is a classic sour formula, right? Sour formula is a shot of any straight spirit, lemon juice, and simple syrup. Lemon juice obviously is freshly squeezed and strained from pulp. So 2 ounces of gin to 1 ounce of fresh lemon. And then we're going to use half an ounce of simple syrup. Obviously, my ratio for simple syrup is 1.5 parts sugar to 1 part water, the so-called enriched simple syrup. Here we go, because it's syrupy, right? If it's 1-to-1, it's just sugar water, and you don't want that. Here we go, half ounce of that. Now, we load this baby up with ice, and we shake it really hard. Just like that. All right. Obviously, since you have herbs, mint, or in this case basil, you want to use your julep strainer, but we're also going to use a double strainer to make it recipe appropriate, right? Rocks glass, right here, and a cured large rock. And now we double strain this baby over this ice cube into this drink. Oh, this looks amazing. Look at that. Ladies and gentlemen, in front of you is the basil smash made with gin. To finalize it and to finish it, you want to put a little bit of fresh basil leaves on top of it like that. Cheers. Stay legendary. This episode is brought to you by... Hold on. No one. Absolutely no one. If you're a liquor company, an importer, any kind of marketing agency, or anyone else, we are not going to dance around here much. We're going to shamelessly ask you to sponsor this episode or this show. This definitely could be you in our next episode. So, don't be shy, reach out, stay legendary.